Cowboys Nation, one pro day just changed everything. Jermod McCoy showed up in Tennessee and reminded the entire league why his name belongs at the top of this draft board. But there is a catch, and for this Cowboys team specifically, that catch might be the difference between the pick of the decade and the biggest mistake of the offseason. We are breaking it all down today. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let me set the scene for you. It has been over a year since Jermod McCoy has lined up on a football field in a real game. The last time we saw him compete, he was locking down some of the best receivers in college football and making it look routine. Then January 2025 hit. The ACL, the silence, the waiting. And for a long stretch, most people quietly moved on. But he showed up in Tennessee, and the numbers did not lie. Adam Schefter had the report first. 38-inch vertical, 107-inch broad jump, 4.38 in the 40 dash. Now listen, those are not just acceptable numbers. Those are green across the board on every relative athletic score that evaluators actually trust. The explosion that jumps off his film, the burst, the closing speed, the ability to flip his hips and stay connected, none of it disappeared. It is still there. And ESPN's Matt Miller confirmed the position drills happened too. So what does that mean? It means Jermod McCoy just walked back into the first-round conversation with force. And now every team picking in the top 15 has to ask themselves a very uncomfortable question. But here's the thing. Asking the question and having the answer are two completely different things. And for the Cowboys, the answer they need is one nobody on the outside can give them right now. Here's what I keep coming back to. You can clock a 40. You can measure a vertical. You can watch a drill clip and feel good about the explosion. What you cannot do is fake a healthy knee. And that knee is the entire conversation. Jermod McCoy tore his ACL in January 2025. He returned to practice in August. There were reports in September that he might suit up for the Arkansas game. Then October came and it was over. No return, no explanation. And from that moment until this pro day, total silence. Now here's where it gets complicated, because the question that is going to follow him into every 30 visit, every medical room, every private conversation between a head coach and his scouting staff is this: could he have played? Because the report suggested he was moving around. The report suggested if Tennessee made the CFP, he might have suited up. And then he did not, and nobody ever told us why. That matters. That matters enormously, because there is a version of this story where there was an unreported setback and the knee is not as clean as the pro day time suggests. And there is another version where he was being protected and managed and he is completely fine. The difference between those two versions is the difference between a franchise cornerstone and a very expensive question mark. We saw this exact same pattern with Shavon Revel. Setback that was not fully disclosed, draft stock fell because of it, teams got cautious, and caution in the first round costs you. The Cowboys will not know the real answer until they get him in for a 30 visit and run their own medical on that knee. And even then, the honest truth is you're taking on some level of uncertainty no matter what the numbers say. Now, before anybody says the Cowboys should just take the talent and trust the process, I need you to go back and listen to what Jerry Jones said at the Combine. He did not leave room for interpretation. He said plainly that guys coming in this year have to be ready to play. They cannot be redshirted. There is no development runway. There is no let him sit and grow situation. Not with this roster, not with this window, and not with no second-round pick. That is the wall Jermod McCoy has to clear. Not just for the league, for this team specifically.
And Brian Schottenheimer was not even at the pro day. He is locked in at NFL owners' meetings doing 30-visit preparation. But when reporters asked him about it, he stopped and said publicly it was very important that a player who has not been on the field in this long, seeing him move matters. He said he was pulling for him. When your head coach volunteers that kind of language unprompted, that is not nothing. That is the internal conversation leaking out. The Cowboys are watching. The Cowboys are interested. The Cowboys want this to work. But wanting it to work and being able to pull the trigger at 12 are two different things entirely. Here is where the strategy gets genuinely interesting, and this is the piece that I think gets overlooked in the straight talent evaluation conversation. If Jermod McCoy comes out of the medical process with a clean bill of health and the league views him as a top 12 player, the Cowboys do not just benefit by potentially drafting him, they benefit either way. Because if he is healthy and regarded as a top 12 talent, he might be gone before Dallas even picks. And if he is gone, that could push another elite defender down the board directly to them. Think about that. The Cowboys do not have to be the team that takes the medical risk to benefit from his presence in this draft. His availability alone reshapes the board around them. Schottenheimer is already doing the work. The 30 visit is coming, the medical evaluation is coming, and whatever that knee shows is going to ripple through the entire top of this draft in a way that directly impacts what Dallas can do at 12 and at 20. That is not a small thing. That is draft strategy at its highest level, and the Cowboys appear to be playing it correctly right now. Now let us talk about Avion Terrell, because while everyone was locked in on Tennessee, Terrell had his own private workout on Monday, and it did not go the way anyone wanted. He tweaked his hamstring at the Combine, skipped the full testing at the Clemson Pro Day because of it, showed up to this private workout ready to go, and on his first 40 attempt, it happened again. Re-aggravated. Day over. Everyone goes home with nothing. I want to be honest with you here, because the easy reaction is to panic, but let me give you the real read. Terrell was not a guy with an injury history in college. This is not a pattern. This is not a red flag that traces back through his career. It is frustrating. It is unfortunate timing, but it is not the same conversation as if this had happened to Jermod McCoy or to a player who was already managing something chronic. The comparison that matters here is this. If Jordan Tyson had pulled his hamstring in the 40, that changes his entire profile because of what it would suggest about his body under load. Terrell does not carry that same concern, at least not yet. What it does do is leave a blank space where the athletic testing should be, and blank spaces make evaluators nervous, not because they assume the worst, but because they cannot confirm the best. And in a draft where teams are already navigating uncertainty at the top of the board, adding more uncertainty to your evaluation is never ideal. So here is the real picture right now. The Cowboys hold 2 first-round picks. They have been crystal clear about needing players who can contribute immediately. The board at the top of this draft is genuinely unsettled in a way that creates real opportunity if you are willing to do the work. Jermod McCoy is the highest upside player in this class at the position. The Pro Day confirmed the athleticism is intact. The knee is the only remaining variable, and that variable is going to be answered in a medical room during a 30 visit, not on a Pro Day field in front of cameras. Terrell is still a legitimate candidate. Not at 12 in my view, but at 20 he makes real sense. He is physical. He plays bigger than his size suggests. He has a knack for forced fumbles and tackles for loss that most corners at his level simply do not produce. And the Cowboys have quietly signaled through their own roster decisions that they are more open this year to a corner who does not fit the traditional length profile they chased in years past. Both of these names are going to matter for Dallas. The timeline of how they matter is what the next few weeks of visits and medicals are going to determine.